you tried to convey to the public?
Well, Bernhard Goetz, on a day-to-day, he dressed always in a white shirt, open sleeves, blue jeans, and he for the most part, was very unemotional and very uninteresting. He tended to sit there with his head down or stare ahead, and if he noticed that we were looking at him, he tended to maybe would smile slightly and then turn away. But he was a very elusive, kind of uninteresting subject.
So what does an artist decide to do in that case?
Well, you draw your feelings, but you can only draw so many Bernhard Goetzes without repeating yourself. You're saying the same thing over and over. Now, that's not true with a lot of people. A lot of people have so many different facets to themselves. They present different moods and different, and that produces more interesting drawings. But you have no control over this, of course. You're stuck with what's before you, and sometimes witnesses on the stand are very dull, and there'll be people in the jury box that are just terrific to draw, and you want to draw them, and I do. But I always have to do my so-called targets first, the essential people. And once I get that down, then I can enjoy drawing secondary people, and But a lot of the main players, so to speak, are very uninteresting. And other times they are. Gotti, for example, was in a very hard to get position in the courtroom. He was seated way in the back with a lot of other there were a lot of other defendants in this case.
But that wasn't related to avoiding media coverage or coverage.
Well, no, it was a seating plan, and an artist is only as good, really, as where he's sitting. If you can't see your subject well, if you're not in a position to see him, you don't get very good results.
I want to talk to our other guest. I didn't forget about you, Charles, Professor Charles Bond. As all of us know, and as we'll let our viewers know right now, on December 1st of 1987, the picture, no pun intended, is going to change for the courtroom artist and for media coverage in the courtroom as cameras enter the courtroom for the first time. Charles, tell us about that decision and that change in the law.
Well, it seems to be an inexorable pressure taking place in a number of states. It began in one or two of the southern states. I think Florida was first, and then other states followed suit. The television producers and directors have always been interested in coming into the courtroom directly. And in the name of freedom of the press, it seems a reasonable thing to do. There are several scholars of the courtroom process, though, who have grave doubts about what its effects will be. And I must say I share some of those doubts.
What's the source of that doubt in particular?
Well, there are two things. One is the question of how it's going to affect the behavior of people in the courtroom. Whether, in fact, it won't place some artificial constraints or inappropriate constraints on various lines of defense or prosecution. And whether some of the courtroom actors, and actors in this case meaning just being people who are there, the judges, the lawyers, and so forth, don't begin playing to the camera rather than carrying out their function impartially. My own concern is the following, that while it appears to be more truthful, more valid, in fact, you still have editing, you still have filtering, you still have a process, and you may even have trivializing. In many ancient cultures, there were things that were forbidden to be depicted in direct image.
But you really have